Growing up, I'd never met anyone who looked like me. Not in person, not on television, not even in my wildest dreams. Well, maybe once. The closest I'd ever come was on one hot summer evening at a county fair in central Illinois. Among the carnival rides and games, there was also a freak show with people on display. It included a pair of conjoined twins, a bearded lady, and a middle-aged man with missing fingers and toes. I stared at him in horror, and in response, he stared back at me. But before he looked away, he offered a nod with a strange expression, as if to say, "You're like me." What would have been more useful, however, was if my doctor could have let me in on the news that my condition was not only genetic, but also autosomal dominant. That meant I had a 50% chance of passing extradactyly on to my children. Now that would have mattered. For much of my youth and into my 20s, I chose to remain in denial, believing that my genetic mishap would start and end with me. Why? My greatest fear was passing it along to my offspring. They would blame me, and I would blame myself. When I shared that with my now husband, John, before we got engaged, he poo-pooed me. "Geez, Meg, what are you so afraid of? You came out great, and even if our kids inherit it, they will follow your lead." I have my own mom and dad to thank for that. Their unconditional support has shaped the confident person and unwavering parent I've become. Although I was born in the United States, much of my childhood was spent in 5 countries across the Middle East and South Asia. There, my ability to be resilient was constantly tested. When we moved to Iran, beggars on the street would run for the hills, worried they might catch my condition or my family's presumed curse. When I lived in Cairo, Egypt, and Islamabad, Pakistan, people would pass me on the street and let out loud murmurs of pity. In Kabul, Afghanistan, my own nanny was afraid of me. But there were upsides to my experiences abroad. In Israel, we lived in an apartment, and our landlady was named Regina. She had moved from Wisconsin to Jerusalem with her best friend named Golda Meir, who later became the prime minister. One day, Golda was visiting Regina and saw me playing outside. She stopped before entering the building, stared at my small, disfigured hands for a moment, and then whispered in my ear, "You are enough." I was startled by her boldness. Up until that moment, any stranger that had ever encountered me had only shown uncertainty, fear, or pity. Although I was too young to fully appreciate it, Golda sought to reassure me that no matter what I looked like, I would get through a lifetime of pity, stares, and false assumptions about my abilities just by being me. Her words would one day capture my own life commitment to unconditional self-love. And yet, as important as the encouragement was, it would be up to my parents to help me believe it. Because when the world takes one glance at you and reminds you of everything you aren't, you need to rely on constant reinforcement at home to remind you of everything you are. As it turned out, my prayers of not passing on extradactyly went unheeded. Ethan was born with 1 finger on each hand and 2 toes on each foot. And a few years later, his brother Charlie was born with 2 fingers on each hand and 2 toes on each foot. There wasn't much of a chance that their younger sister Savannah would share our genetic condition because she was adopted at birth. Even so, Savannah would have her own invisible differences. Beyond the adoption, she developed a severe allergy to nuts and would later be diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. Altogether, thanks to my genetics, Ethan, Charlie, and I have 18 fingers and toes combined. I'll let that sink in for a minute. In my case, the cause was certain, so I used to think I was uniquely tormented by the guilt of our sons being born different. But in speaking to countless parents, I have come to realize I'm hardly alone. My own mother tells me that she was tortured by a pediatrician who suggested that had she not eaten a rotten potato chip early in her pregnancy with me, I'd have been born genetically perfect.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.